Okay, so now we're going to go to evaluating a function from a table. What's the name of the function in the question? So I'm going to come to my question. So you see here where it's example 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to do example 5. You're going to do example 6. All right, so as I do example 5, you're doing 6. So the name of my function is f. What is the name of your function? The name of my function is f. So going back to my notes, what is the name of the function in the question? For me, it's f. What is yours? What is the input or output that you are looking for? All right, so let's again define the input. The input is whatever is inside the parentheses. In the parentheses is input. So x is equal to the input. And then the output is whatever your answer choice is once you've put it through the function. So your output is after the equal sign. After the equal sign. Okay, so your input is inside the parentheses. So let's go ahead and write that out. And your output is after the equal sign. Okay, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for the output because right now I have something in my input. So find the input, that's not what I'm looking for. Find the output. So I'm looking for my output. So as I'm looking for my output, f of x or g of x, what I do is I look at the input x for that given output. Okay, so what's the input I'm given? 4, right? So they're saying I go to x and I look for the input 4 because that's my input. I'm going to kind of put a box around that. And then it says, look at the input x for that given output. So now I'm looking at which one? Am I looking at f, because that's the name of mine, or am I looking at g? So am I looking at -10 or am I looking at -2? I'm looking at f. Why am I looking at f, which is -10? Because that's the function I'm putting it through. So this is all that I'm interested in, even though they give me a table full of values. And when I put in 4, it's saying when I put in 4 right here, for f, I'm going to get -10. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and do your question. All right, then I'm going to do example 7 and you're going to do example 8. So again, my note says, what's the name of the function in the question? So if I look at my example 7, my name is g. So I'm not going to look at anything f. This time I'm looking at anything g. Okay, and this time I'm not giving my input, but I'm giving my output. So if I'm given my output, to find the input x, what I do is I look at the name of the function, which is g, that I'm looking for, and just look what the input is. So if my output of g, here's my g, if output of g is -16, so this is my output right here, which is -16 right here. If my output is -16, what's my input so that it gave me that? It's the x1, which is -2. All right, so when g of -2 is going to be equal to -16. So again, you go ahead and do this question. So technically they can give you anything. They can give you the input, ask you to find the output, or they can give you the output and ask you to find the input. So if you're looking at, they give you the input, you just find x as the input. In fact, I'm just going to write this as input right here. That way you don't get confused. And this out here is output. Okay, so input is this one, and these are outputs, and then you just look at the name. Let's practice.